Welcome to the Economist in Your Ear podcast. If you could outsource the emotional support you wish you got from your family to a complete stranger on the internet, would you do it? Even if you knew it was manufactured.
I mean, it sounds like the premise of some dystopian sci-fi movie, right? But for millions of people dealing with just the crushing pressure of modern life, this isn't hypothetical at all. It's a daily reality.
Yeah, and today we're unpacking this cultural shift that's covered in an article titled, "For Some Chinese Youth, Virtual Parents Are an Antidote to Loneliness." We want to really get into the structural and psychological reasons behind this trend.
Right, because it's not just a quirky internet thing. It's about how rapid economic changes are fracturing traditional families.
Exactly. And we'll get into how meme culture is stepping in for clinical therapy and what happens when human comfort becomes just another monetized product. But to start, I want you, the listener, to just imagine a really specific scenario.
Okay, set the scene.
So you're on a quick lunch break, you're completely burnt out, just mindlessly scrolling through social media, and you're carrying the weight of all these work deadlines and heavy family expectations.
Just totally overwhelmed.
Right. And suddenly, this video pops up. It's a middle-aged couple. They look directly into the camera, making what feels like real eye contact. And they say in this incredibly gentle voice, "Are you tired from work and study lately? Don't push yourself too hard. Mom and Dad know that you have endured a lot."
Wow. I mean, just hearing you say that, it creates this immediate, almost physiological response. It's designed to literally lower your heart rate, to be an escape valve for all that tension.
It really is. And for millions of young people on Douyin, which is China's version of TikTok, this kind of content is a digital lifeline. It's this explosion of what they call virtual parents, or dianzi fumu.
Yeah, and the scale of this is wild. You have creators like Pan Huqin and Zhang Xuping who've built audiences of nearly 2 million followers doing exactly this.
Just setting up a camera and acting like loving, totally uncritical parents.
Yeah. Exactly. And the article really grounds this by looking at a guy named Vincent Zhang. He's a 33-year-old web developer in Shanghai.
So he's an adult, a successful professional in this highly competitive city.
Right. But his daily routine involves pulling out his phone while he eats, specifically to get this unconditional praise from these videos. He says his real parents never tell him he's good enough. They never tell him to stop working so hard.
Oh, wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, so he goes to a screen to have digital strangers ask him if he's, just happy today.
I couldn't help but think of this as like emotional ASMR. It's like a digital weighted blanket. I mean, we're so used to parasocial relationships now, like with Twitch streamers or pop stars, but forming one with a surrogate parent, that feels uniquely vulnerable.
It really does. It taps into this super primal need for low-pressure affirmation, affection without any strings or critique. But to understand why it works so well, you have to look at the authenticity behind the camera.
So you'd think it's all just synthetic, right? Like actors reading a script for the algorithms.
You would think that. But there's often real lived pain there. Take that creator Pan Huqian. When he was just 14, his mother was paralyzed.
Oh my God, at 14.
Yeah. He had to leave home, basically abandon his childhood, and become the sole breadwinner for his whole family. And during all those years of struggle, he said his parents never gave him a single word of encouragement.
So he knows exactly what emotional neglect feels like because he lived it.
He lived it, yeah. And he made a vow that when he had his own kid, he'd create a totally different environment. His actual daughter is in some of these videos now, and he constantly verbalizes his love for her.
That's incredibly sweet, actually.
It is. So when Pan looks into the camera and tells his viewers that they are enough, they pick up on that genuine empathy. He's retroactively giving the internet the childhood warmth he was denied.
Right, that underlying pain is what makes the virtual comfort feel so real to someone like Vincent. But okay, Vincent's story brings up a huge question for me.
What's that?
Why does a 33-year-old successful web developer need a digital Band-Aid in the first place? Like, what is the source of all this emotional burnout?
Well, you have to look at the structural generational fracture happening right now. It's not just individual family dysfunction. It's the result of this unprecedented economic compression in China.
Meaning everything changed way too fast.
Exactly. Think about it. They went from agrarian poverty to an industrial powerhouse to a hyper-competitive digital economy in like 4 decades. In the West, that took over a century.
So generations had time to adapt.
Right. But in China, you essentially have parents and children who grew up in entirely different centuries. The parents' formative years were all about severe historical unpredictability. Survival, food security, economic growth, those were the only priorities.
They literally didn't have the bandwidth to worry about emotional fulfillment. They were just trying to make sure their kids had calories and a roof.
Precisely.
Mm.
And then you contrast that with Vincent's generation.
Mm.
They grew up with staggering economic growth and stability. But the trade-off is this society with intense, cutthroat competition, severe burnout.
It's that exhausting modern rat race,
Right.
right? What they call Niwan or involution.
Yeah. And you see this clash perfectly in Vincent's life. He spends his lunch breaks soaking in this soothing affirmation online, but his weekly phone calls with his real parents are the exact opposite.
Let me guess, they're super critical.
Constantly. They criticize his career choices, pressure him relentlessly about finding a girlfriend, getting married. Vincent says that as soon as the phone call starts, they make him feel like every choice he makes is just fundamentally wrong.
It sounds so suffocating.
It's relentless critique masquerading as guidance.
But I do want to push back on this a little because it's so easy for us to sit here and cast the older generation as the villains.
Oh, absolutely.
But if we look at it through their lived experience, their constant push for marriage and financial success, that's a survival instinct. In a world that could fall apart at any moment, pushing your kid toward security is the ultimate expression of care.
Their tough love is their love language.
Right. It's born out of necessity. So are the youth just failing to translate their parents' intentions?
That is such a vital point. And it brings us to this traditional framework of filial piety, or jiudao. It's this centuries-old social contract that demands absolute respect, obedience, and duty to your parents.
So the parents are just fulfilling their highest duty by being harsh and pragmatic.
Yes, and the child's duty is to just accept that instruction silently. They're playing their roles exactly as the cultural blueprint designed it.
Okay, so where does it break down?
Think of filial piety and this survivalist parenting as a societal operating system. It was great software for the hardware of a developing scarcity-driven economy. But when you install that exact same software onto the hardware of a modern generation youth who are already crushed by this hyper-competitive rat race, the system crashes.
Oh, that makes so much sense. The parents are giving them armor for a physical battle of survival, but the youth are fighting a psychological battle of burnout.
Exactly. And that heavy armor is just dragging them underwater. It's not a lack of love, it's just a fundamental inability to speak the same emotional language.
So if the operating systems are totally incompatible, how do young people actually cope? Because watching a video on Douyin isn't always enough to deal with real-life filial piety.
Well, they turn to internet culture. Specifically, this highly nuanced world of memes and dark humor.
Right. The article mentions this viral trend called gourd soup literature, or hulutang wengsu, which is just such a great term for that subtle, everyday psychological manipulation.
Yeah, it all comes from this 1-minute viral skit.
Oh, right. The video where the mom offers her son a bowl of gourd soup, and the son just politely says no, he doesn't want it.
But the mother completely weaponizes it. She twists his simple no into this massive guilt trip, accusing him of being ill-tempered, talking about how much she suffered to make the soup.
She turns a dietary preference into a whole referendum on his worth as a son.
Exactly. And it went incredibly viral because it perfectly models this universal dynamic, a situation where a child's stated boundaries are just totally ignored by parents who insist they're doing it for your own good.
In Western psychology, we might call that a martyr complex or maybe covert narcissism.
But here it's this localized expression of how filial piety gets weaponized in just a mundane daily interactions.
Like over a bowl of soup. The article actually introduces this 28-year-old Zhao Xuan. She dealt with so much of this gourd soup dynamic that she just completely muted her family group chat.
Which, in a culture built on filial piety, muting the family chat is a genuinely radical move.
It really is. But the most fascinating part is that she actually tried professional therapy first.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. But she quickly realized that sitting in an office, uncovering her trauma, learning communication strategies, none of that was ever going to change her mother. Her mom wasn't going to suddenly abandon decades of cultural conditioning and validate her feelings.
Right, because Western therapy is fundamentally individualistic.
Exactly. So she quit therapy and just leaned into the memes. She said treating the manipulation as a joke, like, oh, here comes the gourd soup again, was the only way she could change her own mindset.
That is wild. It really forces you to examine the limits of Western therapeutic models when you apply them to ancient Eastern family structures.
Because Western therapy assumes you can just set rigid boundaries or distance yourself from toxic people.
But in a society where your identity is so tied to family duty, Severing ties is a profound social transgression. It's almost impossible. So words like boundaries or gaslighting just don't compute with the parent's operating system.
So if you can't use traditional conflict resolution, you use the memes. Gourd soup literature becomes this shared cultural shorthand. It tells people like Zhao Xuan, you're not crazy, this is happening to millions of us, and all we can do is laugh at it.
It's a decentralized grassroots defense mechanism. You can't change the source of the trauma, so you alter its emotional impact.
It's a survival tool. But, anytime you have a grassroots movement that offers real emotional relief, the market always intervenes.
Oh, inevitably. Algorithms spot the desperation, and corporations figure out how to monetize it. We enter the business of warmth.
Because virtual parenting isn't just empathetic guys like Panhukia in their living rooms anymore. It's a massive, lucrative industry. These vloggers are signing with MCNs, these corporate multi-channel networks, and mass-producing emotional comfort.
The market saw a massive void in human connection and mobilized to sell the feeling of it being filled.
And I have to admit, I find that incredibly bleak. Think about it from the viewer's side. If you know that a corporate agency might be writing this parental love script and they're A/B testing it to maximize watch time, doesn't that shatter the illusion?
You would think so.
I mean, if the affection is just manufactured for ad revenue, how does that actually cure someone's loneliness?
Well, your cynicism makes total sense if you value authenticity above everything else. But you have to look at Vincent's perspective again. He's a web developer. He knows exactly how the internet and these corporate algorithms work.
He's probably more aware of it than anyone.
Right. He knows it's a product. He even points out that it's way easier for these creators to project affection at a camera than to deal with a real, complex human being.
So he has zero illusions about this being a transaction.
None at all. And yet, he still watches. He still seeks it out when he's stressed. And he has this devastatingly pragmatic conclusion. He literally says, I believe that a little bit of warmth is better than nothing.
Wow. A little bit of warmth is better than nothing.
If you really unpack that, it challenges all our assumptions about emotional relief. We assume comfort has to be real to work. But the human nervous system is complicated. The amygdala, the part of your brain that processes stress, doesn't always care if the affection is organically spontaneous or corporately funded.
So when Vincent hears that gentle voice telling him to rest, his stress response genuinely decreases.
His heart rate likely slows down. The origin of the comfort is fake, but the neurochemical relief in his body after a 14-hour workday is undeniably real.
It's kind of like the placebo effect. If the doctor tells you it's a sugar pill, but it still cures your headache, the relief is totally valid.
Exactly. When genuine support is scarce, the brain just takes whatever relief it can get. The comfort is a product, but the soothing effect is real.
So we've gone from this burnt-out 33-year-old in Shanghai finding peace on his phone to the historical economic shifts that caused this generational divide, to memes replacing therapy, and finally, corporate monetized parental love.
It's a massive sweeping shift, and the implications go way beyond Douyin or just the context of China.
Right, and it leaves me with this huge question about where we're headed globally. As modern life gets more competitive and exhausting, are we moving toward a future where we just systematically outsource all our difficult emotional needs?
It's entirely possible.
I don't just mean surrogate parenting. I mean outsourcing friendship, romance, conflict resolution, all of it, to these frictionless digital avatars or AI.
Because they never criticize you and they never disagree with you.
Exactly. And if a simulated connection gives you more immediate peace than a real person, what happens to our tolerance for the messy, frustrating, but completely necessary reality of actual human relationships?
It's a dangerous path. If we prioritize frictionless comfort, we might optimize ourselves out of the very friction that makes deep human intimacy possible.
Thanks for listening. Follow us for daily insights into world affairs. And don't forget to like, comment, and share.